would love to introduce Dr. Terrell Hill, our Superintendent of Schools, who also happens to be, I think one of the first things I learned about you was that you are an Army veteran. So there you go, sir.
Good morning, folks. So, as the commander here said, look at that guy.
You still know how to spit shine the shoes?
I can do that. I just can't fit in that uniform. But I can do the shoes.
Guilty as charged.
Right. Make the bed. So I was thinking about this actually last night after I got my COVID and my flu shot at the same time at the VA yesterday. Why did I do that? Because I don't know. I got two very sore arms right now. But I'm in the gym 3 days a week, ladies and gentlemen. That's my goal. The trainers in the gym are Windsor alums, so it's two students from Windsor High who own the gym. And they're like, I showed them this picture in February, like, we're going to get you there. And I believe some days they actually believe they're going to do that. Monday they had me in the bathroom over the sink, and I wasn't praying. But I look at this picture, and I was in McNair Kaserne. So in Germany, they had air bases, army bases, but they also had the kasernes, which were basically, German word for a really small unit. So this right here at LP Wilson, this complex could be a kaserne. So ours in particular, McNair, it was a suburb of Frankfurt Herbst. And I learned that it had been the barracks for SS troops. So it was a lot of history there. We also had I don't know how much was legend and how much was true, but I know there was a big lock on the door. So our armory was in the basement, so you go below the first floor. The armors were all down there with the cages and locks. But then there was another door, and you can go down another floor, and as you got ready to hit the next door, so 2 floors below ground, it was water. And so I'm nosy, always have been. So when I started to inquire, I learned that was the way the troops could move around the city. And for those of you that know and don't know, the German troops are really good at moving underground around their cities. So the subways that I took all the time to go to the PX and go out the clubs, they moved tanks and all kinds of things. Troops marched underground all over the cities. So they were like, it's chained, they flooded it, so no one could ever go down there. But I look at this picture and I think about going truly from a boy to a man. So I graduated high school, I was a good student, it was the 80s. Parents were middle class. Dad worked at Pratt Whitney. He's a Vietnam vet. Mom was a police officer in Springfield. So I told my parents, we are just middle class enough for you guys not to be able to afford college. So I'm going to go in the military. They're going to give me this amount of money. I've always been a business-minded person. And then they're going to pay for college. And my GI Bill did pay for my bachelor's degree and my master's degree. So I would do this decision over 1,000 times. But I learned to appreciate my country by living in another country. So I've done lots of equity work, and I know we've had arguments around the country for that. I tell people, because I bring up issues, just like you fuss about people in your family, you still love them. I don't want another country. This is my country. I never had that level of love for my country until I lived in Germany, because I got to see my country from somewhere else. I got to meet people from all over the world, and I realized that we aren't really all that different. Pretty much everybody wants the same thing. So I embraced those messages. I also learned that I was a leader. I never thought of myself as a leader. I always thought I was just an independent friend. Kids would be like, yo, Charles, let's go, play tag football right now. I'm like, I don't feel like doing that. I'm going to read a book. Oh, man, you don't never want to do anything. So they all would sit there mad at me while I'm reading the book. I never thought of that until a sergeant major explained to me one day with some real colorful words that I didn't know who I was. And I said, I didn't know exactly who I am. Those of you who've been in the military, you know what I mean by colorful words. He said everything but the name my parents gave me. And he said, you need to figure out who you are. I didn't know he had been watching me. And he's the brigade sergeant major, and I'm in headquarters company in a battalion. So just think, you got Windsor, you got Bloomfield, and you got Hartford. Hartford's the brigade. He's the commander in Hartford. He notices me over here in Windsor. I started on the journey of leadership, reading about leaders, studying, thinking about everything I did from that point forward as a leader. And to this day, when I look at this picture, I think about the confidence that I had grew. Like, I was never a person who was nervous, really, but I learned that I am a leader. So I tell my leaders, and I teach leaders through my course at UConn. A leader is a person, when you enter a space, everything changes for everyone else. There's a physiological change with the people who are in the space in which you enter. It doesn't matter where you go. Leadership is something that will exude from you. I learned that from my sergeant major. I learned that in the Army. I also learned that leaders, it's not true that leaders don't have fears. We have fears. The difference is we are able to move forward past our fears. So my sergeant would say, Hill, you're afraid? Yes, sir. Do it afraid. So I've said that to my leaders here in Windsor many times. I know you're afraid. I know you're scared. Guess what? Do it anyway. So this picture just reminds me of so much. Like I said, from a boy to a man, and I was super fit. Could run 10 miles in a minute if you told me to. Like, go ahead, run 10 miles and come back. Yep, and my boots would be shined up again. But you tell me run 10 miles now, I'll call it Uber. So, yeah, I just love my time there in Germany. I do consider Germany like my second country. So I love that country. But thank you for letting me share with you this morning. Any questions or anything? I don't know if I don't wanna mess up the program.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, how many years did you serve?
I served 3 years active duty in Germany.
Very cool. Thank you for your
And I did
service.
5 in the reserves. I came home, got smart. I switched to the Air Force Reserve. I
Okay.
don't want to go to tents anymore. Like, they go to days in. We went to tents, so I switched to the days in.
Thank you for your service. I'm sure you learned so much.
Thank you.
Dr. Hill, you didn't tell us when this was taken. Do you
That
remember
would-
the year?
That would be because they were doing new. It was the 80s, yes. They were doing new barracks. So these temporary barracks in the middle. It would be 1988, early 1988. Because 89 they were gone. My last year there, I was there 87, 88, and I left December 89. So 1 month I was able to see the wall come down. Breaking news. Having dinner with my girlfriend Tanya, West German citizen, she was highly upset. No! I was like, wow, this is cool. No, it's not! Yeah, they didn't really like each other, the East and the West. It was really different. So I thought it was great. She thought it was terrible.
Wow.
Thank you.
Awesome. Dr. Hill, thanks so much.